Habarini za saizi na wakati mwingine tena, mtazamo halisi unakujia na financial freedom. Tumempata Mercy, ana uelewa mkubwa sana kuhusu mambo ya finance. Mercy atatusaidia ni jinsi gani unaweza ukaweka foundation kwenye mambo yako ya finance, jinsi gani unaweza ukawekeza, ni jinsi gani kama umeshaingia kwenye matatizo ya credit, jinsi gani kuclear ile deni, jinsi gani ambavyo unaweza kulipa bila interest kubwa. Anaelewa mkubwa sana wa hayo mambo na yuko tayari kutusaidia. Tumkaribishe Mercy ili aweze kutuambia ni kitu gani tunatakiwa kufanya sisi katika maisha haya ambayo tunahangaika kila siku. Lazima tuwe na uelewa, lazima tuwe smart katika maisha yetu ya kila siku, na hayo hatuwezi kuyafanya kama tusipoendelea kujifunza kila siku. Karibu Mercy, jitambulishe wewe ni nani ili tuanze moja kwa moja. Najua una mambo mengi sana kutuambia, kwa hiyo jitambulishe na unaweza tukaendelea.
Asante.
Karibu.
Kwa majina naitwa Mercy Obare, mke wa Fred Obare. Kwa sasa hivi tunaishi mjini Hoover, Alabama. Nimefurahi kuwa hapa.
Asante sana Mercy.
Asante.
Okay, tuambie Mercy, how can we be free? Financial freedom. We want to know vitu gani vya kufanya, jinsi gani ya kufanya. Maana wakati mwingine unaweza kuwa tempted, unalipwa vizuri, unakimbilia kwenye kuwekeza, una buy shares. Wakati mwingine una shida, unataka kuchukua credit cards. Hebu tuambie, how does this works? Jinsi ambavyo tutakuwa free, kwa sababu najua upande wa pesa mambo yakisumbua, najua na familia zinakuwa share. Sasa hebu tuambie, tupe tu chochote ambacho kitawasaidia wasikilizaji wetu.
Kweli kabisa, umegusia mambo ya muhimu sana. Money is very important in this society, in this day and age that we live in. Without money, in many cases, you cannot put petrol in a car or gas in a car. You cannot pay the power bill. You cannot feed your family. You cannot dress.
You cannot put a roof under your table.
You do not have a roof over your table. So fedha, pesa ni kitu cha muhimu sana sana katika mazingira.
Smart about it.
Yes. Kitu cha msingi sana ni hekima. Okay. Wisdom. Any area that we are not knowledgeable about, any area that we have not taken the time to learn, to understand, to know the good, the bad, the ugly, the what ifs, what not to do, how to you get katika mtego, how you come out of that valley, bila ya kupangia ama kukusudia kufanya jinsi ya kupata ujuzi, maarifa na hekima katika mambo ya finances, then we are just living a cycle, hand to mouth, paycheck to paycheck. You get a big break, but you cannot account for it. So most importantly, kama mimi Mkristo, in all you're get understanding. Wisdom is the principal thing in every area. You do not want your electrician to not be certified, because your house will burn, your investments will perish. So it's very important to have wisdom, and once you get the wisdom in a certain area, it frees you up. Then you can work towards obtaining financial freedom. Financial freedom is not something that you gain overnight or within a week or two. Financial freedom is not what you get in school. I have an MBA, but the principles of money that I have learned have not come necessarily from my MBA. I'm thankful for the knowledge and the exposure, but sometimes you can get caught up in mistakes, basically from lack of knowledge, especially those that may have come from the diaspora and not being taught or trained in this area of debt, and those who are now abroad. I was just recently in Africa, and you can see now it's more than before. Getting a car, getting a home, the mortgages, the car loans, things that were not there, or to a very small percentage of the population, it is very easy to get caught up and lose focus, and then start living hand to mouth, borrowing Peter to pay Paul, and it's a cycle. Yep. Making a lot of money, but yet not having fruits or evidence or enjoying even the money that is coming to you. So as a basis, it's important to, one, pay yourself and I know this seems, well, but I've got too much debt or what have you. For those of you that believe in tithing, that is very important. Then the 10% you put aside, and then a 10% save also. Why is saving very important? If you do not have even small savings, then when the car breaks down, or when something breaks down in the house, when the prices of unga ya ugali ama something else, school fees, they need your child to go on a trip or buy this book. If you don't have savings, then it's very likely you're going to borrow someone.
So what you are suggesting, Marcy, that in every paycheck you're getting,
absolutely,
it's important to save 10%.
Who is working? You're working. You're the farmer, you're the worker, you're the employer, you're the business owner.
So that's why you say
it
you pay
is
yourself.
important to pay yourself also.
Yes.
So if you believe in God and your tithing is important to you, give the first 10th unto God. The next 10th, put in your savings. Then you leave off of the 80.
That's
I'm
your
sure
payment.
a lot of your viewers might think it's not even enough, but start there nonetheless.
10%.
Start there, at least 10%. Then the 80%, we'll talk hopefully in the future about budgeting, planning. Most times we don't fail because we don't know or information is not easily accessible or somewhere. We fail because we fail to plan. And so you can plan the 80%. Yes, you're not going to be out of debt maybe a year or 2 or 3 years from now.
If you're in debt already.
If you're in debt already. But if you have the 80% now, and then you can look at, this is my 80. I've given Uncle Sam or the government the tax, what belongs to Magufuli or whoever else, or IRS or the Kenya Revenue or whoever else you belong to. And then the rest, what is my obligation every month, or bi-weekly or every 2 weeks, depending on how people are paid. You might be a farmer, you're harvesting tea, and it comes as that bonus or twice a year, not every time. So this is the amount of money that I'm getting. Let's use, for ease of explanation, say a monthly income. So in a month you have basically, say, rent or mortgage, or if you own your own home or place you live, that's good. Then you have water bill, power bill, electricity, food expenses, maybe gas, you have house help, kerosene, paraffin, the medical food expenses, medical bills or medical insurance. And even if you have insurance, when you go to the doctor, there's still that fee. You have to the consultation, or in America, it's usually a copay that you're paying. So that savings is very important. Down the line, if you're in the United States or in the Western countries, there are other tax benefits that we could talk about as a tax session, where you can save from your paycheck that goes to help you with the co-pays or medical expenses or childcare expenses, but that may be for another day. But right now, just basically say you have 80% of your income accounted for, and then you write down, you can start as simple as a pen and paper. It doesn't have to be a phone or a computer, because we're in different phases in our life. Depending on what you have, just write it down. When you write down all your expenses, then you'll see, is it enough? Is my 80% enough to take care of my obligations? Or where do I need to tighten up this month? Or where do I need to make arrangements to pay a reduced amount until such a time that I can pick more? Or where am I eating out a lot? Na ukula nje this restaurant, this, and maybe I need to cut back. And one of the things I encourage, or I've started with, is put my receipts in a bag. Nachukua Ziploc bag ama paper bag ama envelope, bahasha, unaweka receipts zote kwa mwezi miwili, 3, 4, ndio unaona ambapo fedha yako inaenda. Kuna wale wanaandika cheki, kuna wale wana swipe. You might forget, I swiped for gas here, this, that, and what have you. So later when we get to budgeting, you can see, okay, what is sustainable? Nini ambacho naweza kutumia kukula nje kwa mwezi ambacho ambayo haitaharibu budget yangu kila mwezi.
Sometimes maybe we are keeping ourselves in a life which we are not belonging there.
Absolutely, and we can get there once we obtain financial freedom. It might be in a short way looking to cut back in some areas in order to achieve where we are going. For example, you talked about debt. Once you look at your 80%, and then see what your expenses are, then you can be resourceful. Leo tutakula wali na stew, I'll cook chicken and, spread it out. Then hopefully you're able to pay your monthly bills. If not, what gifts do I have? What resources do I have? Naweza kusuka nywele, ama nina kitu naweza kushop ili kubridge the gap, so that first of all you're making ends meet, you're even at least.
So it means you must have the budget.
You need to budget. Budget is very key. In fact, it's the planning phase. A budget, you cannot obtain financial freedom without a budget. That's my opinion.
That's true.
Others may disagree, but that is very helpful. But we cannot get to be good stewards or excellent in budgeting until we see maybe a few months where our money is going. We have a mental picture, because certain bills are standard. Rent ama mortgage is standard. A car note is standard. Power bill ina fluctuate, maji ina fluctuate, but it's within, a reasonable amount you can estimate. But there are those things that when you spend and swipe your debit card, that nguo hii nimeshop hapa, nimeona sale, that
shoes.
is a good buy. Shoe, I've seen a friend I haven't seen in a long time, let's celebrate. Hiyo celebration iko katika in the budget. Or familia, friends, donation hapa, donation pale, baby shower hii, send off here and there. So is it in our budget? I actually budget for donations.
Wow.
I budget for, and I'm on my way. I don't claim to say I have arrived, but I'm working towards, I'm better off than I was a year, 2 years, or 5 years ago. And I have seen the fruits of it. But you budget.
You don't just jump and just donate everywhere?
No, you don't. You feel, what is best for me to donate for now? Of course, then it becomes, what are the critical things? What will make a difference more? Is it that widow's child who needs to finish high school to be a better impact to that family? Or is it a send-off? So I might give less to a send-off, or just buy one box of diapers at a baby shower, or sometimes wipes and an outfit, because then there's some other need that is more pressing than another. And then maybe down the line, when I've freed up a little more income, I can go see the mama of mtoto akipata mtoto with another outfit, with something else.
That will be the
so
next
I
time
balance. Exactly. I see in this given time, at this month, what can I do? Because also it's not good where I come from a school of thought where don't give by being forced to give, or because it's not cheerful, So that's just how I operate right now.
So budget is very important.
Budgeting is very key, and don't feel bad if you don't have it month 1, 2, 3. I mean, I'm still working through the budget. I seem to have a way that it's going well, but still some months I have to go back and reduce certain things because of unexpected items that come. When you have children, or trips that come. The trip I took in January was not in the budget, and it was an overseas trip. It was unexpected. So there are things that come that are that you haujapangia. So, and they cost and require money. The next thing that you consider is your debts. Because when you have, say, that 80% and your obligations or the bills that you have to pay, you will find that in some cases, few people are blessed to be debt-free or own nothing. They can grow their vegetables, they have a kitchen garden, their house is paid off, or they inherited it, they were blessed with it, or they got some big money. But most people have rent or mortgage. They have a car note, or piki or something else they're servicing, or they're paying bus fare every single day in the daladala, matatu, bus, or train, or what have you. And then you have maybe a credit card. Some have purchased furniture or a TV, with a credit.
Some shoes and clothes.
Some it's even shoes and clothes. I will tell you, no. Hear me. If you don't remember anything else, let today be the last day that you have purchased shoes and clothes on credit. It is not wise. You may agree to disagree, but hopefully you'll remember it down the line. Let me tell you why. Clothes and shoes and every other credit card, most of them, if you really got good credit, charge anywhere from 6, 9, 10%. Lately, it's 12 all the way to 24, 25% interest. So why would you buy a pair of shoes? Let's take United States of America right now. You see a shoe that you really like, and it is $50. If you don't pay in full on that card, you're paying 18% interest for a $50 shoe, which you might pay off in 9 months because you're also charging other things. It's the sweater, it's the jacket, it's getting your nails done, going to the salon, getting your hair. At the end of the day, that $50 shoe might cost you $215 in interest.
Wow.
So it's very
Just
important.
one pair of shoes.
One pair of shoes. It's important to not impulse buy or plan for things or go back to your closet. I don't shop now. What do I have? What fits, what doesn't fit, and what do I need to have? What can go with other things? The first time I had debt, I'll confess. And that's why I had to begin studying this area and see how can I get out of debt. When I started college, a year or so in college, we started getting all this mail, and they would offer you a credit card or this, and that's not an area that we grew up being exposed to. And so of course I got into sign, and it's free money, and boy, was I taking a trip here, a trip there. I see something I like, and I was the kid on the block who would treat everybody to Friday, every other Friday we'd go to in college, Charlie's and the bread and the wings.
You
We
treat
couldn't
yourself
afford,
nice.
yes, we treated ourselves nice. Before I knew it, it was $1,200, and you're making a little bit $5, $6 an hour. Okay, so I got into the issue of paying the minimum payment, and of course that is just enriching the banks. Look at every city in the world. Most of the tallest buildings, the most luxurious buildings, the most well-furnished buildings are the banks. You're paying them 18% for them to invest in wherever they are located. Okay, look at even the city where we're in today. You know, the big banks downtown are usually the banks. That's, you're actually giving them money. They're sitting waiting for you to charge. They just gave you a card. How would you go and pay for a meal?
Use it to buy a shoes or a dress.
Yes. How would you go like giving McDonald's 18% more just because you bought one Happy Meal? In our right mind, if the picture was painted, we would not do it. When we really think about it, I don't think most anybody would really go into debt.
But that's what's happening.
But unknowingly, we're walking into debt. So how do we deal with debt? Which is, I think, one of the biggest issues that's dealing with us. And one of the ways that I've been working my way out of it and have successfully.
Let me before you continue that, Mars, is it necessary to have credit card? Can you survive in America without a credit card?
Very good question. Yes and no. Yes, you can. If you save, for example, I encouraged my brother and my sister-in-law when they came in this country, because I had learned, don't get anything on credit. And thankfully, none of their cars were on credit. They were able to buy a house within just 3 or so years of being in this country. You can show your bank statements, your savings, keep your bills. Scan every time you pay a bill and you paid off, the bill shows. Scan every monthly bill, have a folder, save on your computer. That shows in your bank statements. That shows money coming in, money going out. You can actually get a mortgage. It calls for a lot more paperwork.
Without credit?
Without
Serious?
credit. It's a little rigorous. It takes more because they've got to see a long period of time, income that's
like
coming in.
How many years?
Usually 2 to 3 years, and the income coming in, that much money is in the bank saved. It's like if you run your own business, you don't have a paycheck. So business owners qualify for to get financing for properties, for the businesses they own, or even the homes that they live in. So it's not impossible. It is just commercialization, marketing has portrayed it, and it's become an acceptable way of life that you've got to have credit. And so most everybody believes, and it's become an easy and comfortable thing to do, to obtain debt. which comes by credit.
So what do you do if you get the credit already?
If usually most places, a credit union would be, to me, the best place to start. 5,000, you can ask them to get a $500 card. Sometimes they'll start you with prepay. You know, you put 500 in or 1,000 and you swipe it.
Okay, your money.
And your money.
Okay.
Some places will just give you a small loan, $500, $1,000,
To build your
$2,000.
credit?
They're not making money with that small type of loan, but you could ask them because, hey, I need to try to build my credit, and they will help you with that. It's not hard to get debt and credit in America. Before long, that you'll have 2, 3, or 10 cards, if you may, or this furniture store or clothing store will give you a card. Once you find yourself in that position where you owe, we're back to the 80%, 80% of your income, all your obligations, which now could include Visa A, Visa B, MasterCard D, Discover A, Furniture Store B. You list
Belk,
them all.
Macy's.
Belk, Macy's, Ann Taylor, and the rest of them, Victoria's Secret, and ladies like to go there, and Jose Bank for the men.
That is within 80%.
No, the 80% is one thing. You know how much you're bringing in because that's your spending ability. However, you write all your bills also because that is your obligation. But with your bills, for example, don't write the whole amount that you owe. Say with Belk, you might owe 1,000. Macy's 800. Maybe Ashley's Furniture, you might owe 3,000 because furniture runs a little bit expensive. Maybe your car was worth 12,000 and the car note is 200 a month. So you'd write what you pay each month or what is required for you to pay each month, which they charge you a late fee or it was not received. That is acceptable. So for example, these are your basic bills. I would say house, food, the basic you have to have. You list them. Then on a second place, you list your debts. The mortgage, anything on fixed interest, usually like a car note and the house. That's fixed interest. That is, I don't want to say there's good debt and bad debt, but that's the better debt because you're exchanging, even though a car is a depreciating commodity, it gets you to place it. It helps you work and gain more money. It makes your life easier, dropping your kids to school and making travel and trips. And then also your house, it provides the roof, and from which a segment of your house you work to get some income, but it's a necessity. Then you have another component of your debts. Preferably, I would list all the debts that you're paying variable interest on. These are things like a credit card, Visa, furniture card, clothing store card. I would write the name of the card, how much I owe, the total amount if I was to come across a big break, someone was to bless me with $100,000, I know exactly where I'm starting. I would not go to the mortgage, I would pay these cards because they're earning more interest. And then next column, I would write the minimum payment. And then the next column, I would write, if I usually, under the Obama administration, they added this thing where they tell you if you were to pay off that card or that debt within 3 years, what that amount is. And then you list that amount. The next,
how do you call it?
That's usually, it's on your credit card statement. There's a minimum payment, and then there's a payment if you were to pay it in 36 months. And then they'll tell you if you were to keep paying minimum payment, how long it would take you to complete it. If everybody just looks at one of their credit card statements, they'll be able to see that. Then on a separate page, because that's something you need to refer to on a monthly basis. Not every day, don't have sleepless nights on it, but you know, even they said write a vision and make it plain, so that, because some people, they say win lottery and millions, but they are broke 3 to 5 years later because they didn't have a plan or they didn't know where the money should go. Then the next thing is write, okay, I write them in order. I look through the previous page. Who do I owe the least? I write them in the order of the people I owe. Maybe you owe someone 800, 1,000, 1,200, 2,000, 3,000, and so forth. Then I go back to my 80%. I've paid the house, the food, and what have you. Then I go to that column. If I find my 80% allows me $200 extra, and I'm still paying my cards, okay? This extra 200 I pay where I've been sending $25.
Okay.
So that if I owe 800 in about 4 months, remember 25 plus the extra 200 I find that I have, I've already tithed, I've already saved. Now the 200 I have, I sent to this card that I've been paying $25 plus the 200. Every other card is getting minimum payment. In 4 months, you are paying $225 a month, right? That card is wiped off. You have a celebration, one debt gone. You now add $225 to this other, say you are sending $50. So $225, the 25 plus the 200, the 25 that was going to the original card you were paying before you realized you had 200 or you saw where you had extra money. So 25, the original small debt minimum payment plus $200 income that you found that you had extra, plus now the $50 which was the minimum you were paying to this card. So that one's paid off in 4 months. Now you go to the next card. You exert all the extra money in there. If you get extra jobs, small things, yeah, you might need one shoe, but everything else you push it over there.
You said you use your talents to add more.
Use your talents to gain more money and focus on, of course, if you're like me, if I get any extra income from any other source, it goes tithe, then I pay myself, then I pay debt. With every income that comes, it becomes a lifestyle. It becomes, and then you teach your children the same way. If I give them $10, one is to go to church, one goes to your savings account. It seems like foolishness, but once it becomes a way of life, even when you get a tax return of $10,000 or $5,000, it has already become the way you live. Or you do a small job, a side gig, a consulting, you get $3,000. It is already a way of life. That's what I do with money, period. Wow. If it's in birthday, I get so much money from a birthday. Yes, it's my money. It's special money. It's birthday. But 10% tithe, 10% saving. Then where else do I need to pay something off? Because gratification now, while I'm paying somebody 16, 12, and 14%, is really not gratification. True gratification is when I'm giving nobody extra money. So if you continue on that plan, eventually, it may take longer to get to the final debt and pay it off, but you will be debt free. And then guess what happens? Your credit shoots up to 800 plus, like great credit, because you owe less. You know, they calculate your credit score based on how much you owe. If your cards are 90% maxed out or maxed out, you know, that dips. But when you get to the point where you've paid all your debts, and now I could say use credit for your advantage. Use other people's money to make money or to help you. So for example, there's a card my husband does, and he travels a lot. So he puts a lot of wherever he eats or hotel stays or rental cars or to where he actually has to pick up the expenses, then he puts them on that card. And those cards that we paid at the end of the month, that helps your credit because you're paying it in full. You're using other people's money instead of every month, but it's within the budget. This month, travel money cannot exceed here. So we know mentally I'm not passing this limit, okay? With those cards, then you can get miles, you can get free hotel stays. Some of the vacations we've taken, we're not paying for the hotel because we're using the miles. So now you've gotten to where you're using credit. That's why I said credit is good and credit can be bad. How you use it. If you're using to where you don't want to see your creditors, then it is a problem. But when you're using it to your advantage, exactly. Also, you might come across in future, if we do get a chance to talk about investing, when you've paid down all the debt, then you can go and invest. You know, because why get 6% annual return on stock or mutual fund, and you're paying 5 visas 16, 18, 19, 20%.
That's another subject we need to hear.
Right.
Do you have anything to add on credit cards? Anything on credit card, how to pay it, how to maneuver around so they won't charge you extra points. Because right now you say you have to pay this off.
Yes.
If your income is low, find something which is gonna make your income goes up so you can pay it.
Right.
Anything to add on credit?
And also cut back. Once you start working on your budget 2, 3, 4 months, you will see some things which you might not need to do.
Yeah.
For example, meat, beef. There was a time we had 4 or 5 friends would get together and buy a big cow and then freeze the meat over time. There are things that just be creative and just ask, okay, and
do we really need it?
Do we really need it? Do we have to have it? Another thing that budgeting actually helped me plan our weekly menus.
Yeah.
So that one, we're eating, it really leads to freedom. It helped, what are we eating? How much are we spending? Because then I could manage what I'm spending for. I'm not running to Sam's and Costco every month. You know, I know I'll budget for big ticket items every 3 to 4 months. The paper towels, the laundry detergent, those things I'm not running to Walmart, running to Dollar General, running to Fred's. You will spend money every time you're in a store and you will pick something extra that you don't need.
Yeah.
What do I have in my pantry? What do I have in my stock or garage or where I keep extra things? And you try to be good stewards of what you already have.
So you don't shop every time?
I don't prefer to shop every time. In fact, I don't go out to shop a lot. Right now, I'm in a phase where I'm using, going through life, you acquire a lot of things. So I'm using a lot of what I have. Yes, I still once in a while shop, more so for my children than for me.
Yeah.
Right now, I have a goal. I have some financial goals I need to achieve. I feel that there's plenty in my closet that I can wear.
Yeah.
Especially when you think about weddings or evening events.
Baby
We
showers.
wear some of those things once or 2, 3
That's
times
it.
a year.
And how
so
much
just
did you
mark
buy them?
exactly. So if you really keep it well, washed well, hang it well, there's a
You
lot
can
that
reuse it.
I'm on, and my husband knows this year, unless I must buy something, I'm not shopping. I'm not going to die, but I'm going to achieve paying off 1 or 2 more things or investing somewhere. I have a goal to pay off something that I'm investing. In the scheme of things, will add value for $150 to an event, or will it be finishing that shamba plot that I really want to finish off and then think about something else? So it's also your priorities. When you do the budget, how does it relate to your financial goals as a person, financial goals as a married couple, and how are you helping your children with your financial goals live hopefully a better life than you, and providing for them in a better way than you? For example, if you have a lot of credit card debt, there's no need to save for college. Pay off the debt, or unless you have kids going to college tomorrow or next year, then you can put $5,000 in a college savings account. Here in the US, they have like 528 or 29, then pay their fees with that. Unless you're doing that, it really pay off the debt and you'll have more time to pay it. Somebody else might disagree. But I think if you don't have kids or you have infants, yes, there's compound interest. But if you owe too much and it really doesn't make sense, you can see a financial advisor. There might be a point where you need to focus on paying debt, then you can begin in those investments. You just need to look at your financial position. We're not all in the same places. Another thing, going back to the question that you asked, what are the other things that you can do? If you can pay a little more than the minimum payment, by all means, go ahead and do that. Number 2, if you can work towards to the long-term living on one income.
Marcy, one day I remember you were talking about the date.
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
It is very, very important to maintain good credit and keep your interest rate where it is for credit cards particularly, paying the minimum payment or a little bit more than the minimum payment prior to the due date. You're still fine on the due date, but the problem is if you're mailing your check or something happens, you work double, you have set it up to pay online, and something happens, you forget because you've worked your calendar to paying the due date on the payment on the due date. Anything can happen. And if you fail to pay the minimum payment on the due date, in most places they charge you a late fee, anywhere from $25 to $39, $49, depending on the card. You have just paid somebody $50 because you were late, which is then being compounded interest at 21 to 25 days at 18.9%. You just bought somebody maybe a stock,
So
a $10
it's good
stock.
to do like 2 days before the date.
Once you do your budget, again, you have your minimum payment, or the debt column when you write the minimum payment, and then the column for each due date. As a matter of practice, try to send everything a week in advance. It will
Week in advance.
Yes, a week in advance. And then on my phone, what's due, I have a reminder a week in advance, 4 days in advance, and then 2 days. I have 3 reminders. You know, you have the date it's
Yeah.
due, then at least your phone can allow you 2 reminders, right?
Wow.
So when the first one goes, I look if I'm able, I can. But if not, there's a second reminder, and then the last one is at least 2 days before. That way, in case like the international travel I had that was unexpected, I actually called them from overseas to pay, because I tried to log in one of the machine a friend gave me to log in and change, because I was in the village and not in the city. I didn't carry my laptop or anything like that. I literally called and a number and actually paid on the phone, because I could not access online from upcountry to pay the bill. But at least the phone, the reminder still reminded me. Otherwise, you know, that's very helpful. The more you don't pay on time, if you get a copy of your credit report, and I'd encourage everybody to get a copy of their credit report at least once a year. And it's given to you free once a year. There are places we can talk about it and you'll share later where they can get it at least once a year. Typically you can see one every time you're late. They're saying every time they did not receive it on time. Also, you will notice that your minimum payment will go up, and then your credit score will go down. And then also they can, because a lot of us don't read all the agreements that they send in very fine print. If you fail to pay this on time, if we don't get it, we can charge $49 or $39,
You know,
and also change your
You just sign without reading.
and then change your interest rate. So you might have a good interest rate, say 12.9, which in this day and age is relatively reasonable. And then it will hike up to 29.99. So that you're paying debt almost 3 times more. And variable interest for most credit cards is compounded daily. Not like a car, it's a fixed amount every month, or mortgage until you finish. So paying the minimum payment, if that's all you can, that's fine, until you're able to get additional resources to increase. Once you work on your budget, you'll see where you can cut back and start focusing on your debt. And that should be helpful in the long run. It may not take you 2 or 3 months to pay it all off. It might be 3 years for some, but if you're committed to it, you will be on your way to obtaining financial freedom.
Thank you very much, Mercy, for, I can call it like you laid foundation.
Absolutely.
Bado tunakuhitaji. We really still need you to come and tell us, because sometimes it's hard even to make a budget.
Yes,
You
sure.
come teach us.
Yes.
You come to teach us even even if it's a housewife, how to do like a menu and those kind of stuff. Because we might ignore it and feel like it's nothing, but those are the thing which will cause us, like we have a lot of debts.
Right.
So we really appreciate. This is the first part. We'll come again to continue with the debts and the other thing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Asante.